and pause. Now, when the person that won the Academy Award for Actor of the Year gives you a coaching tip, you want to explore that coaching tip. It'd be like Tiger Woods giving you a coaching tip on golf. You know, you want to listen to what the man says, and you want to do your own research to see whether or not it's going to work in your world. So I would encourage you to take a look at, you want to be a professional presenter, you want to wow the audience, you want to create a space between this communication packet and this communication packet. And I call that space a space packet. You could also call it a pause. In the voice world, you would call it an interframe gap. There's a space between the 2 points of data. Now, in that space is your magic. In that space is your master presenter, the ability to create space. There's a wonderful author, Eckhart Tolle, wrote a best-selling book called The Power of the Now. And he says there are only two things in the world. There is space and there is things in space. When you watch an IT professional, all they have are things in space. They have no space. It is not spacious. Therefore, if you want to improve your ability, you want to be able to create space. You want to be able to pause. I tell my students, the issue is not your speaking. The problem is not your speaking, and the problem is you can't shut up. Oh, and they laugh and laugh and laugh. And then they go up in front of the audience, knowing that they need to be able to pause, and they just go talk, 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 talk. They do not have control. They are not conscious enough to be able to stop and then to be able to start. You want to be a professional presenter, you want to be able to step on the accelerator of the car, and you also want to be able to step on the brake. You want to be able to stop and create that space packet. And let's talk about that space packet, because that space packet is fantastic. Benefits to creating a space. One of the first benefits to be able to create a space is the only time you can physically relax your body is when you create a space, like a jacuzzi, to be able to create a space to step into, to relax your body. Oh, yeah. But the problem is when you talk, you get tight, 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 and now you're tight. You're like a knot in front of the audience. But when you create a space packet, one of the things that Roger Ailes mentioned in his book, You Are the Message. Roger Ailes currently is the chairman of the board of Fox News. He spent years looking at audiences and looking at people in front of audiences and what are the characteristics to be successful in front of an audience. And he said the number one characteristic to be successful in front of an audience is that you want to be perceived by the audience as relaxed up here. And the only time you can relax is when you create a space for relaxation to occur. And in that space, but if all you have is data, 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 there is no space at all. So you want to be able to create space. Another benefit to creating a space, first you have relaxation. The only time that you can breathe, I mean really breathe, let's take a deep breath, is when you're not speaking. You cannot breathe in and speak out at the same time. And relaxation is like the breathing is like the key to relaxation. So you want to be relaxed up here, breathe in, breathe oxygen in. So another benefit to be able to create a space packet is that you breathe. An extraordinary benefit is number 3. And that is the only time you can think up here is when you create a space to connect to that database of knowledge that you're standing on. If you don't create a space, it's like having a little 56K connection to your database of knowledge. Very difficult to upload knowledge through a 56K pipe. But if you can pause up here, it gives you a broadband connection to your database. And when you have a broadband connection to your database, the data that you bring up is fresh, it's alive. Oh, it's just wonderful when you bring that data up from a broadband connection. So you don't want to have a 56K, you want to have a nice broadband connection, and you have that when you create a space, so you're allowed to think on your feet. Another benefit to having a broadband connection is that you are able to pause, and when you're able to pause, you can actually put your attention on your body. Your body is the key to your consciousness. When you take the time to put your consciousness into your body, you notice your hands, you notice your shoulders, you notice any tension and tightness in your body. Now you can keep your body nice and relaxed. And the body is the machine, the body is the vehicle that is delivering the data. You want to be able to keep your body relaxed from the beginning of the presentation all the way through to the end of the presentation. Therefore, you have to have a little bit of your consciousness on your body. And I tell my students, if you can just keep your body relaxed in front of the audience, what you'll notice is that you'll be a master presenter because you'll have access to your database of knowledge. Another benefit to being able to create that space packet is that you're able to do what I call an agenda check. An agenda check is to see where you're at in the conversation. So let's say you're doing a laptop PowerPoint presentation and you're using the Microsoft Word, and you have your PowerPoint presenting, and there's a feature called a dual monitor display. In the dual monitor display, you have the monitor that the audience sees, and then on the laptop you have your laptop display. And in there you have your notes, and in there you have the things you want to talk about. So when you're able to pause, you can go over to your laptop. Just you pause, you're not going to say anything. And then you come back to your point of focus connection, and you remember the things you wanted to say. You didn't want to miss anything. Was there a story you wanted to share? Was there an idea you wanted to share? Did you cover all the things you wanted to cover in order to maximize the contribution and the service that you're making to the audience? You don't want to miss anything. How do you know you didn't want to miss anything? Because you went over there and you didn't miss anything. But if you're unconscious up here, what happens is you're up in front of the customer, you're saying what you want to say, and then at the end of the presentation you sit down, and as soon as you sit down you go, oh, I forgot to do this, I forgot to do that. It was in your notes, but you didn't read it because you didn't create a space in order to read it. Therefore, you want to be a master at creating space in the conversation. You want to be able to pause, you want to be able to breathe, and especially you want to be able to relax. And that completes the things that I wanted to say about the wireless packet delivery. And now we're going to move on to the final point. The final point is own the room, control the environment.